Uh, I think we can start. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you to New Orleans. And this event really is a symposium, not a workshop. And the meaning of symposium originally is coming from Greek philosophers, really, like Plato and those guys. They used to bring elite people for a dinner, actually, dinner and drink. And then they talk intellectual about topics. They pick up one intellectual topic and they talk about it. So it's not open to public. It's only by invitation. And we just invite certain type of people. And then in order to have public to have access to what we have, we videotape this and we put the record actually as a videotape on the web for the general public. This has been our tradition, and this particular workshop is the third workshop that we did. We are doing that every 2 years. The first two times was 2008 and 2010. We organized that at WPI in our campus. This time, people suggested that we append it to CTIA so that it will be in a different place and a little bit different setting, and also possibility of having more people from CTIA to attend. And that's why we ended up doing this thing. We have totally, I think, invited around 40 people, and I think we have around 30 attendees for the workshop. The workshop is sponsored by 3 patrons: Verizon Wireless, Qualcomm, and Skyhook. These sponsorships has facilitated WPI's work in order to organize this, because we don't need to go through registration process, which is another hurdle to us. So we go only over the invitation and everybody comes in, and there is no cost involved with anybody. Anybody who wants to donate something to the workshop, they can donate it to the workshop or to the WPI, but there is no registration cost. The theme of this symposium is the role of indoor geolocation in the future of localization for smart devices. This is a very timely topic because of Google's recent announcements on availability of indoor maps and the emergence of the around 20 startup companies in the past couple of years in this area. So I think for anybody who is involved in the localization, it's good to get together and just talk about it and to see what will happen to that and what is the impact of that to the future of this industry. The most prominent features of human being that has enabled us to create a very advanced civilization that is way more complex and beyond other species is our ability to process, share, and store and retrieve information. This has been essential for our civilization, actually. We have this ability to create the information, share the information, and store the information, and that's why that we built building based on the knowledge that we had 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Apes cannot do that. Everything is just one lifespan and one person's lifespan. Because of information, we can just exchange that among our species, and we can, because of storage, we can bring the information from the past. Now, essence of this information is time and location. Ability to measure time and location is essential for faster processing of information, which has been the trend ever since in the past 10,000 years. Now, so engineers and scientists have always been after finding methods to measure time and measure the location. In the time, past 500 years, I think was very crucial, because they started the time by pendulums, and they put it on top of the tall buildings in the time so that everybody can synchronize with the time. More recently, in the past few years, we have digital time, and everybody has like atomic clock on the smart devices. So we have solved the problem of time, not as the time for solving the problem of location. Problem of location really has been in the past few decades. It has started with GPS for outdoor, and then it went to indoor, and more recently actually it's going to inside the human body, which is actually my current area of research. Now when we want to look at these like movement of localization from outdoor to indoor and now to inside the body, we see that the technologies are different. They are different because a sense of localization is a map, some landmarks, and then a method to find your location from the landmarks. This is a sense of localization. And when we go from GPS to indoor and now inside the body, these three things changes actually. So as a result, we are discovering new sciences, and that's our contributions in the past like 10, 20, 30 years to the engineering in general. Just to give an example, GPS became popular when the map of the surface of the Earth map, was available by satellite pictures. And US government launched some 24 satellites as landmarks. And they made the location of those things available to public, and they allowed the public to use that signal to find their distance from the satellite so that we can localize ourselves. Then an industry started to grow. The industry people started to design chipsets, and later on mapping that chipsets to that map. And that's the industry that Frank and others are enjoying from that. Wi-Fi and cell tower localization for indoor geolocation really start with the announcement of iPhone, when it became very popular for commercial applications. The story for indoor geolocation is completely different. Because when you go to the GPS, map is owned by one entity, landmarks owned by one entity, and both of them are freely available to people. Okay? The companies are working on the algorithms. Now when you come to the indoor, the story completely changes, because number one, we are not using time of arrival, we are using receive signal strength for localization. That will bring a new element, which is element of site survey in the commercial world. So now the information that are needed for localization, one is about the map. Okay? Map is not owned by one entity. Different companies are investing to build up those maps, and they are very fragmented. And still it's not complete, because it's huge amount of work to put different buildings into electronic format and put it to internet and make it available. That's part of the job of that 20 companies which are right now emerging in this field. The second thing is that location of access point. We know the location of satellite given by the government. In here, that is owned by different entities. And these different entities have invested some money to create that database, and now they own it. They need somehow to share it with each other. The third one is that people have done the site surveys, like Ekahau has done a bunch of inside the building, Skyhook has done some outside the building, and they own those site surveys. So how they want to communicate with each other in this fragmented environment? My belief is that the most important thing for the future of indoor geolocation in particular is to coordinate these efforts. And in order to coordinate these efforts, we need to create standards. Standards for what? Standards for creating indoor maps, so that if one company, those 20 companies can share each other's, and also they can hold and keep their intellectual property, because they are investing in creating those maps. The second one is location of access point. People who are creating the database for location of the access points, they want to have a mechanism, a standard mechanism to share it with other people and also keep their intellectual property. And the third one is for the databases that they collect, for the site surveys. They want to have like a sort of mechanism or a standards which gives them the preserves their intellectual property and the investments that they have done in those companies. So I think one of the themes for indoor geolocation would be to discuss a standardization of these things, maps, databases, and a location of access points, so that we can facilitate the future of indoor geolocation, to my opinion. Now, the next few words that I have now is about the logistics of this workshop. We have 4 panels. Each panel is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Speakers will provide their presentations, each around 15 minutes, and then we don't ask too many questions. Only for clarification of the lecture, we ask a little questions. After all 3 or 4 speakers finished, then we start to asking questions. Panel chairs start with a couple of questions, and then the rest of us, we discuss it, and we want to keep it alive and actually up to date. So that's the format of the workshops. Then we have 2 panels in the morning. We have 2 hours break for the lunch, and we have a luncheon speaker. Our luncheon speaker is Jalal Mapar from Department of Homeland Security. He provides a different view of indoor geolocation, which is indoor geolocation for public safety applications, which is a complete different requirement. They don't collect databases because they are working on hazardous and immediate environments. And I think that's a very, very appropriate thing for us to listen to and think about it. In the afternoon, we have the last 2 panels, and then at the end, we have opening remarks. After the opening remarks, we will wait a little, and we want to go for dinner. Actually, this is an optional dinner if you want to attend to follow up on the discussions, because one of the most important things in the workshop or symposium is to people meet each other and talk with each other. Now, to do that, actually, Maggie is organizing, wants to do the reservation. So I would like to know how many of you are going to be available, actually. So how many of you, do you want to raise your hands for the, around 6 o'clock dinner and talk? Just we want to have the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, around 20, I think, which is the number actually that Maggie was trying. We will go to the downstairs around 6 o'clock and in the first floor. And then we can socialize and talk with each other and discuss the rest of the material, which is away from the technical discussions. For the internet access, we have 3 iPads actually available if you want to use them to check your emails. And if you want to connect, Pranay and Ganshen will help you, and Maggie is there to help you too for the connection to the internet. With that, the bathrooms are on the right-hand side if you go a few steps down. The next and last thing that I would like to bring up is my acknowledgements. First of all, I would like to thank Pranay, Ganshen, Yanjing, and Omer in my lab that they did all the detailed work for the technical program committee. I would like to thank Maggie and Rhonda from Skyhook that they did all the local arrangement and they find this nice room away from Boston and much more fun town than Worcester, maybe. And now I would like to thank Ifti, Pratap, Nader, Farshid, and Ferit at the Technical Program Committee because they helped us a lot to bring all the speakers together. And I would like to thank Ayman, Ted, and Ifti for sponsoring actually the workshop, for helping us to sponsor the workshop. The last but not the least, I would like to thank Jalal for coming here to give us the keynote speech. With that, I think we can start our program. We are almost on time. For the first panel is the executive panel. We made a